Okay, the carbohydrates, which is the nutrients that converted into maltose by the enzyme called ptyalin. It is secreted by the salivary gland. Next, proteins. The proteins are converted into peptones by the enzyme called pepsin. It is secreted from gastric glands. Okay, next, lipids are all known as fats. These fats are changed into small globules by the enzyme bile juice. There is no enzymes, this bile juice, this is secreted from the liver. There is one bit here, which is the juice that does not contain enzymes. That is, the answer is bile juice. It is secreted from the liver. It acts on fats or lipids and changes into small globules. These fats are also converted into fatty acids and glucose by the enzyme called lipase. It is secreted from intestinal glands. Next, the process of digestion in human digestive system. This is most important. They will ask, explain the process of digestion in human digestive system. Right? Intake of food materials into the body through mouth is called digestion. Ingestion. Intake of food materials into the body through mouth is called ingestion. In buccal cavity, food is masticated by our teeth. Food is masticated. It means when we take food, we masticated. How can I tell? Okay, leave it. Food is masticated by our teeth and mixed with saliva to make it slippery and wet. In this stage, slippery food called as bolus. Sorry. Food is masticated by our teeth and mixed with saliva to make it slippery and wet. In this stage, slippery food is called bolus. We have to note down this point. The slippery food, which is formed by the mastication of food and which is combined with saliva, is called bolus. Next, saliva contains ptyalin enzymes. I said also the saliva contains ptyalin enzymes which acts on carbohydrates and change it into maltose. This enzyme converts the carbohydrates into dextrins and maltose. Right? Next, bolus passes through esophagus by wave-like movement called peristaltic movement. What is the wave-like movement? Is known as peristaltic movement. That is peristaltic movement. The bolus passes through esophagus by the wave-like movement is called peristaltic movement to the stomach, into the stomach. Okay. In stomach, what happens in stomach? At the stomach, food gets churned. In Telugu, it says chilakadam. Right? At the stomach, food gets churned with gastric juice and HCl, hydrochloric acid. The food churned with the help of gastric juice and HCl acids. Gastric juice contains pepsin enzyme. It converts the proteins into peptones. Already I told that gastric juice contains pepsin enzyme. It converts the proteins into peptones. What is the role of HCl in this process? HCl creates an acidic medium which facilitates the action of enzyme pepsin. Okay, right? HCl helps the pepsin to convert the proteins into peptones. It facilitates the process of pepsin which acts on proteins. Right? It kills the germs present in the foods, harmful germs present in the food. This is the role of HCl. In stomach, food is in the form of softy, slimy substance where some proteins and carbohydrates have already been broken down. This is called chyme. In stomach is in the form of softy, slimy substance where some proteins and carbohydrates had already break down. This is called chyme. Sorry. Partially digested food chyme is released in small amounts by pyloric sphincter muscles reach small intestine. These pyloric sphincter muscles present at the end of the stomach and the starting of the duodenum. Right? These pyloric sphincters helps the food get into the duodenum. Right? Partially digested food chyme is released in small amount by the pyloric sphincters muscles reach a small intestine. What happens in the duodenum? The small intestine first part is duodenum. What happens the food in this duodenum? Duodenum is the first part of the small intestine. Okay, bile juice secreted by liver and pancreatic juice secreted by pancreas release into the duodenum. The bile juice does not contain enzyme, but it contains bile salts. Emulsification of fats is done by bile juice. Emulsification means big fat molecules are converted into small globules like forms by the help of these bile juice. This is called emulsification. Emulsification of fats is done by this bile juice. And the pancreatic juice contains three enzymes. They act as follows. Carbohydrates, these pancreatic juice contain amylase. This converted into maltose. And the proteins, these pancreatic juice contain trypsin. It is converted the proteins into peptones. And the fats, the pancreatic juice contain lipase. These pancreatic juice converts the fats into fatty acids and glycerols. Next, what happens in the small intestine? Complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins, fats take place in the small intestine by intestinal juice. Right? Complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins, fats takes place in the small intestine by intestinal juice. Intestinal juice contains more than 5 enzymes acts as follows. Maltose, which is a product of carbohydrates by the amylase. No, the maltose are changed to glucose in the presence of maltase. Right? Maltose are changed into glucose in the presence of maltase, which is present in the intestinal juices. Next, sucrase. It changed into glucose in the presence of sucrase. It is in the intestinal juice. It is an enzyme in the intestinal juice. Next, lactose. It changed into glucose by the enzyme lactase present in the intestinal juice. Peptones. This is the end products of the proteins when it reacts with trypsin. Peptones are converted into amino acids by the peptidases. It is present in the intestinal juice. Next, fats. These fats are converted into fatty acids plus glycerols by the enzyme lipase. It is also present in intestinal juice and pancreatic juice. The small intestine, the complete digestion makes the complete digestion is occurred in the small intestine. The finger-like projections present in the walls of the small intestines are called villi. They absorb the digested food into the blood. Right? Undigested food is sent into large intestine. After the digestion completed in the small intestine, the food is get into the large intestine. In large intestine, most of the water present in the non-digested food is absorbed into the blood. In large intestine, most of the water present in the non-digested food is absorbed into the blood. This material is then expelled through the rectum and anus which is the last part of the alimentary canal. Anus is the last part of the alimentary canal. These undigested food material is then expelled through the anus, which is the last part of the alimentary canal. This is the process of digestion. When they ask a question, if you want to write all these processes, right? Next, malnutrition. What is malnutrition? Eating of food that does not have one or more than one nutrient in the required amount is known as malnutrition. When we take some food, in that food there is only one or more than one nutrient is required amount is known as malnutrition. Malnutrition is of three types: calorie malnutrition, protein malnutrition, and protein calorie malnutrition. Causes of malnutrition. When there is malnutrition, the below causes are occur, that are poor health, willful starvation, lack of awareness of nutritional habits, poor socio-economic factors. These are the causes of malnutrition. Examples for malnutrition diseases are kwashiorkor or marasmus. These kwashiorkor disease is occur due to the protein deficiency in diet. If there is no proteins in the diet, then the kwashiorkor disease is occurred. Body parts become swollen due to swollen, it means ubbadam, right? Body parts become swollen due to accumulation of water in the intercellular spaces. When there is no proteins, the body becomes swollen due to accumulation of water in the intercellular spaces, right? This swollen legs, fluffy face, right? Swollen legs, the fluffy face. These are the symptoms of this kwashiorkor disease. And the difficult to eat. They had difficult to eat and dry skin are these all the symptoms of this kwashiorkor. It occurs when there is no proteins in our diet. Next, marasmus. Marasmus is the disease that occurs due to the deficiency of proteins and calorie in the diet. What are the symptoms of these disease? Lean అంటే బక్క చిక్కడం అని అర్థం. Lean and weak, బలహీనం, right? Swelling limbs ఉబ్బడం, and less developed muscles and dry skin, diarrhea are the symptoms of these disease. Next, obesity. Obesity is occur due to the overeating and excess of energy intake. This obesity is a big hazard. It leads to diabetes, cardiovascular, renal, gallbladder problems. This obesity leads to diabetes, cardiovascular, renal, gallbladder problems. Right? Only way to treat obesity is to increase the energy expenditure and reduce the energy intake. Only way to treat obesity is to increase the energy expenditure and reduce the energy intake. Okay, next, last, vitamins. Vitamins are organic substances. These are micronutrients required in small amounts for our body, right? Vitamins are classified into two groups: water soluble vitamins and fat soluble vitamins. Water soluble vitamins contains B complex and C molecules. Fat soluble vitamins contains A vitamins, D vitamin, E vitamin, and K vitamins. In our textbook, they given the vitamins tables to learn. This is the most important table to learn in this lesson. Okay, next, nutrition in amoeba. Amoeba takes food by using temporary finger-like extensions called pseudopodia of the cell surface. Inside the food vacuole, complex substances are broken into small, simple and smaller substances which then diffuse into cytoplasm, right, inside the food vacuole, which is formed by the covering of pseudopodia, the finger-like extensions. Complex substances are broken down into simple and smaller substances which then diffuse into cytoplasm. Next, the nutrition in paramecium. It is a unicellular organism. It is also called as slipper animalcule because it is in the slipper shape, so that it is called slipper animalcule. Food is taken in at a specific spot called cytostome. The paramecium take the food at a specific spot called cytostome. Food is moved to the spot by movement of cilia. By the movement of cilia, which covers the entire surface of that paramecium. Okay, food is moved to the spot by movement of cilia, which covers the entire surface. Last, vomiting. It is a method of ridding ourselves of unwanted or harmful substances from the stomach. The vomiting is reverse peristaltic movement. What is peristaltic movement? The wave-like movement which is occurred when the when bolus is entering into the stomach. The movement is called peristaltic movement. The reverse peristaltic movement is known as vomiting. Hence, the food is expelled out. This vomiting is occurred, or causes of this vomiting is overeating, food poisoning, taking high proportion of fat containing food. These are the causes of vomiting. Okay friends, this is about the nutrition lesson. These are the most important topics in this lesson. Okay, next the important questions are, friends, the important questions are the light reaction and dark reaction differences, and chlorophyll and chloroplast differences. And the next, why photosynthesis is considered as the basic energy source for most of the living world. Okay, and next, explain the necessary conditions of autotrophic nutrition and what are its byproducts. Okay, next, with the help of chemical equation, explain the process of photosynthesis in detail with the help of flow chart. Okay, next, explain the structure of chloroplast with a neat labeled diagram. Right, next, how are fats digested in our body? Where does this process take place? What will happen to protein? The protein digestion as the medium of intestine is gradually rendered alkaline. Next, what is malnutrition? Explain some nutrition deficiency diseases and explain any two diseases caused due to the malnutrition. And in this lesson there are so many experiments. The most important experiments is that are, what process do you follow in your laboratory to study the presence of starch in leaves? And next, how would you demonstrate the green plants release oxygen when exposed to light? This is also known as hydrilla experiment. Right, next, draw the neat labeled diagram of chloroplast and chlorophyll and the human digestive system. These are the most important questions of this nutrition chapter in biology. Okay, thank you.